We are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country, but the cartels are running and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs.
Welcome back, folks. Buckle up. We've got President Trump, Sean Hannity, and a whole lot of bombing Mexico talk. If you thought politics couldn't get any wilder, well, you clearly haven't been paying attention. We're diving headfirst into the latest geopolitical gymnastics, the kind that makes your head spin faster than the DC lobbyists trying to explain their latest donation. Let's get into it.
We're going to hit land, and then he started talking about Mexico and the cartels coming out of Mexico. Are we going to bomb Mexico? Are we going to invade Mexico? Do people realize the level of insanity that is? But don't worry, after you get the facts on how we might attack Mexico from the anti-war president, afterwards we're going to show you a clip where he threatens to bomb Iran again. This is the most ironic anti-war guy I've ever seen in my life. All right, yes.
He's one of a kind. Well, yesterday, President Donald Trump revealed, unprompted by the way, that the US military will be executing land strikes in Mexico. And that was during an interview with Sean Hannity. And Hannity didn't press Donald Trump on that statement. He just kind of like moved past it and just let the interview move on. When asked for a comment, a White House spokesperson stated this: "The administration is reasserting and enforcing the Monroe Doctrine to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere, control migration, and stop drug trafficking. The president has many options at his disposal to continue to protect our homeland from illicit narcotics that kill tens of thousands of Americans every year."
All right, hold on a second. Reasserting the Monroe Doctrine to protect our homeland from illicit narcotics? Let's be real here. When did protecting our homeland suddenly mean we're bombing our neighbors? This isn't some grand strategy. It sounds like a desperate attempt to look tough when the border situation is, I don't know, a mess that they created. You know, it's funny how they talk about options at his disposal. What about the options of actually securing our own border first? Instead, we're talking about land strikes in Mexico. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by setting your neighbor's house on fire. It makes absolutely no sense. We're supposed to be protecting our country, not becoming the world's policeman again, especially when the home front is crumbling. The cartels are a problem, absolutely, but they thrive because our border is very weak and our demand for drugs is through the roof. This isn't a foreign policy issue that can be solved with a few bombs. It's a domestic crisis that needs a real American first solution, not an international strongman act. We need to stop the flow into our country, not just complain about where it originates, especially when our own policies are enabling it. This is a distraction, plain and simple, from the real issues facing everyday Americans. It's a classic DC move. Ignore the symptoms at home, then go start a fight overseas and call it patriotism. Give me a break. We need a new reality.
Well, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, has already shot down Trump's plan. She stated that any US military strikes in her country would require her approval. But according to anonymous sources who spoke to Reuters, the White House believes that the administration's foreign policy is on a winning streak. No one can stop him, and they want to keep going with that streak. So one source said White House aides were eager to carry over the momentum from the Maduro operation toward accomplishing Trump's other long-standing geopolitical goals. Cenk, I guess they're trying to strike while the iron's hot, or at least strike before the rest of the world even has time to wrap their heads around what is going on, keep track of, which war he's starting where, why he's doing it in each spot. Like, there's so much going on. It's not even, what are we? What's today's date? We're barely in the second week of 2026. And, this was the plan all along, it seems.
Yeah. So look, guys, disaster is what's next. Because if you take too many chances, it catches up with you. So that's true in life. You probably experienced that in your life at some point. If you've ever gambled, as I have, take one too many chances and you're gonna lose the whole pot, okay? So that's how life works. Now, Trump is feeling super proud and high right now. He's high on his own supply. He did the bombing in Iran and he thinks that worked. And so, but we didn't lose anyone. And it was tactically a great operation by the US military. It's a terrible idea, but the tactics worked. So, and he thinks I did it. Brother, you didn't do a thing, man. Those guys trained decades to be able to execute that. It wasn't you. You had bone spurs in your feet, remember? So then Venezuela happens and we don't lose anyone again. Again, I hate it. I think it's a terrible idea for the reasons that I'm explaining here. But our military does the tactics great and they wind up getting Maduro and they get him out of the country. And Trump thinks I did that and I'm invincible. So yeah, you know what? Maybe I attack Mexico. Maybe I invade Greenland, or we're gonna bomb Iran again. Brother, what happened to anti-war? Well, what happened to the Nobel Peace Prize? Nope, none of these are wars. I'm not putting any ground troops in. I'm just gonna bomb, kidnap, kill, and it's all gonna be super clean. Nope, it isn't. I'd be shocked if the next one doesn't get us into massive trouble. But if it doesn't matter, because let's say the third operation against Mexico or Nicaragua or Sweden works out well, right? What's he gonna do? He's gonna do the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, until he runs into smack dab into the middle of a disaster. Now you say, Jake, how do you know it's gonna be a disaster? Did we win in Afghanistan? Did we win in Vietnam? Did we win in Iraq? What did we win? I know we spent $8 trillion on the so-called global war on terror. And I know Halliburton got some contracts and Raytheon made a lot of money and so did ExxonMobil.
Bingo. He just hit the nail on the head. Did we win? No, we didn't. We just funded a gravy train for the military-industrial complex while our own infrastructure crumbles and our veterans struggle. $8 trillion. You heard that right. 8 trillion with a T, dollars. Think about that number for a second. That's enough to rebuild every highway, modernize every school, and probably give every American a pony. But no. It went to contracts and profits where American families paid the price in blood and treasure. This is precisely why true conservatives, real American first patriots, are sick and tired of these endless foreign entanglements. It's not about winning. It's about the perpetual conflict that lines the pockets of a select few. We send our bravest to fight in the middle of the craziest places. I can't even point to the map for the reasons that change with every news cycle because meanwhile, the leaders back home talk about strength and prestige while our own cities rot. It's a tragic cycle. We're told we're fighting for freedom, for democracy, for our interests. But what are those interests if they don't include the well-being of the American people? The only ones winning are the defense contractors and the globalist elite who profit from chaos. It's time to pull back, secure our own home, and stop being the world's punching bag and piggy bank. We need it now.
And Israel's, of course, super happy about all of this. But what did we win? No, we didn't win anything. Our money got transferred to those companies that profited from those wars. But the American people, we lost nearly 5,000 men in Iraq, over 32,000 wounded, blood and treasure gone. So Trump is a grade A moron to begin with. And so a grade A moron taking tons of risks and not realizing what's going on is going to walk us into endless wars. There's absolutely no chance it doesn't end in disaster. And so I mentioned Iran. Come on, you guys are exaggerating. He didn't really threaten Greenland, Mexico, and Iran on the same day. Yes, he did. Watch this.
Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts.
What happens when a plane gets shot down? The other day we took a Russian tanker, a tanker that was at least claimed to be Russian, and the Russians said it was theirs. It originally started out from Venezuela, and there was a Russian sub next to the tanker. What happens when the sub fires? We're flirting with disaster here, guys. But if you're on the right and you're celebrating all this, first of all, I don't think you've mastered the English language. War is not peace, it's just war. And this is going to, I guarantee it, and you could hold me accountable on it. If we go to the next 3 years and Trump never put any ground troops in, never got us into a disastrous war, and he just bombed half the world and it was super clean and we profited off of it, I'll come on and profusely apologize. There is a 0% chance of that. This is going to turn into the worst F-fest you have ever seen in your life. All right.
Yeah, and I think it's strange that he thinks he's on a hot streak with all of this. The Venezuela invasion was wildly unpopular. It still is, and it's expected to go down in approval over time. The approval rating is abysmal. It was like less than a third of Americans approved of it, and the American people just generally aren't buying any of the reasons why he's doing it. Even among Republicans, the last I checked, he had maybe 65% approval among Republicans. And that's still not much among like such a cultish group of people. But it's kind of like what you were alluding to, because I think I said this either on another show or in a video somewhere. I wonder if those 65% of people who approve of Republicans, who approve of what Trump just did in Venezuela, even know what they're approving of, even know what is actually going on, because it's very hard to discern what is actually going on, because he says one thing, then he does something that makes no sense, and then he says something else entirely. First, it was about all the drugs coming in from Venezuela, the drugs that he had no evidence of. And then he attacked them and he said, we're doing it because the Venezuelan people need regime change and Maduro's a bad guy and we have to do something, which had nothing to do with the drugs, it seemed. And then he's talking about oil and he's having meetings at the White House with oil executives. I think that was today he was doing that. But the American people, regardless, don't want to spend our money on this. His entire brand was make America great again, not all these other countries. And I guess if you really wanted to, you can make an argument that attacking all these other countries is somehow making us greater, but it is a stretch. This is very un-America first. And America First, when he first came out with that as a slogan, the left didn't like it, right? Because we said, all this means is that he is going to cut off millions, billions of dollars of aid to people all around the world, the most vulnerable people around the world. People are going to die because of it. And then we were right. He did exactly that. The right liked America First because they took it to mean that he wasn't going to do the Monroe Doctrine. He wasn't going to invade all these other countries. He wasn't going to send all of our money over to Israel.
Exactly. This is the fundamental betrayal of the American First movement. We, the people, the everyday Americans, heard America First and thought it meant our money, our resources, our focus would finally come home. We thought it meant an end to this globalist adventures, an end to funding endless wars and foreign aid while our own citizens struggled. We thought it meant securing our borders, rebuilding our industries, and putting American workers first. But what do we get? More of the same, just with a different salesman. We're still bombing places, still talking about intervening everywhere, and still sending our hard-earned tax dollars overseas. It's a bait and switch, pure and simple. They sell us our patriotism and then turn around and do the very thing they promised to stop. Our grocery prices are still through the roof. Healthcare is an absolute fucking joke. And we're worried about forever chemicals in our food. But don't worry, we're reasserting the Monroe Doctrine. It's a clown show. The American First slogan has been completely hollowed out and weaponized to justify the same old, tired, globalist agenda. We need leaders who will actually mean what they say and who understand that America first means Americans first, not some geopolitical chess game. It's ridiculous.
No, all he did was the bad thing that we said he was going to do, and none of the otherwise good things that he promised his base he was going to do. So now they're seeing all their money go out there. Our daily lives are getting worse, not better. We're losing healthcare. We're grocery prices are still not coming down. We have forever chemicals that are in our food now. All kinds of things. Things are not getting better. But on the flip side, RFK Jr., he did flip the pyramid upside down. So I guess that's a win for us.
Yeah. Look, end on a couple of quotes from our members. A YouTube member, Shut Up Tiffany, wrote in, I just spent $10 on milk and bread in New Jersey, and he thinks I care about the cartels running Mexico. Let alone he thinks you want us to spend more money invading Greenland and attacking Iran on behalf of Israel. You're 100% right. And you're right, Yaz, we didn't quite like America First framing because of some of the context, etc. But you know what? No. Now I'll take America First all day, right? As long as we actually focus on the average Americans. That's why I call it Americans First, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? And then Cabbage made a good point on TYT.com. He said, doesn't the CIA already run the Mexican cartels? So maybe this ends with us attacking the CIA.
And there you have it, folks. Another day, another dose of political theater disguised as foreign policy. It's clear as day that America First has been twisted into something unrecognizable. And we, the American people, are the ones paying the price. Don't let them fool you with grand speeches and empty promises. If you are fed up, as I am, with this endless cycle of intervention and neglect of our country, then smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown. Let us know in the comments what you think America First truly means. We need to keep the pressure on and demand real change, not just more of the same old song and dance. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and most importantly, stay American.